The final chapter on JFK, Chapter 16, Segment 3, The Tests.
Welcome to Segment 3, The Tests. The infamous tests on Warren Commission Exhibit 139 by the FBI, in the Army, and then after the fact, a number of different people and organizations running similar types of tests. Now, the problem with all of these people that run all of these tests is they're not running it on the weapon. They have themselves a new weapon or a rebuilt weapon, but not the defective Exhibit 139. On November 27, 1963, the FBI conducted an initial series of rifle tests with the alleged assassination weapon. As part of the test, the FBI determined that Oswald had at most 5.6 seconds to fire the 3 shots. This time range conclusion was based upon observations from Oswald's alleged vantage point in the southwest corner of the Texas School Book Depository and comparing it to films and photographs, ignoring the fact that there were book boxes blocking the window and ignoring the fact that the window was at a height of only 13 inches to 28 inches open from the ground. To prove that Oswald could fire the shots within this requisite time, the FBI started out by having 3 master marksmen, not amateurs, fire a Mannlicher Carcano in a series of 3 shots at stationary targets located only 45 feet away, that's 15 yards, and with no constraint on when they could start firing. So it was an unlimited time for a first shot. The 3 experts fired 3 shots within 9 seconds, 8 seconds, and 6 seconds respectively, and none of the marksmen were physically capable of firing all 3 rounds within the 5.6 second requirement. It was also discovered that to actually work the bolt action successfully would take about 2 to 2.3 seconds for each time a bullet was fired, and a new bullet would have to be brought into the chamber for another shot. With respect to that test, not surprisingly, all the marksman's shots were high and to the right, missing the stationary targets located only 45 feet away. Because the test did not support the lone assassin conclusion, the FBI was required to conduct another test on March 16, 1964, at Quantico. However, on this occasion, only the best of the 3 original marksmen was used, and that was FBI agent Robert Frazier, who had a best time originally of 6 seconds. In this test, Frazier was required to fire a series of 3 shots at a stationary target. Frazier's times for the 3-shot test series were 5.9 seconds, 6.2, and 6.5 seconds. Again, the expert failed to match Oswald's alleged time of 5.6 seconds. All the shots were high and to the right of the target. Not giving up, on March 27, 1964, a 3rd test was arranged. The test was conducted by the U.S. Army Ballistics Research Laboratory, and again, only one of the 3 experts was capable of firing the 3 shots close to the required time limit. However, continuing its efforts to prove the impossible was possible, the commission allowed the new marksman to use a gun rest and a gun chair, and to take, again, as much time as needed to line up the first shot at the stationary target. But even with all of these altered conditions, the marksman again failed. Ignoring the 3 scientific tests, which proved it was impossible for Oswald or anyone else to have been a lone assassin using that rifle, the commission solved the problem on paper rather than on the rifle range. First, the commission decided to ignore anything that was blocking Oswald or the alleged assassin's view of the motorcade while on Elm Street. Then the commission expanded on paper the time in which Oswald had to fire the 3 shots. It extended the time range to 7.1 to 7.9 seconds. And then it was able to claim its marksman could perform the impossible. And the commission, rather than to accept the test targets with their failures to hit stationary targets, chose instead to rely upon the opinion of one of its experts who claimed that if Oswald was shooting at Kennedy, it would have been an easy shot. According to FBI firearms expert Robert Frazier, when he was testifying before the Warren Commission, the results of the tests by the FBI marksmen at 15, 25, and 100 yards all showed that firing the weapon produced shots that didn't hit the target and were always too high and too far to the right. And at 15 yards, 45 feet, the shots averaged 2.5 to 4 inches high and at least 1 inch to the right. At 25 yards, the shots were averaging 4 to 5 inches too high and 1 to 2 inches too far to the right. And of course, if you extrapolate the 25 yard to 100 yards, or times 4, the shots would be 14 to 20 inches too high and 4 to 8 inches too far to the right. Located up on the screen are photographs of several of the FBI targets taken as they were attempting to fire the alleged assassination rifle and to hit a target. As is clear from these photos, at 15 yards, they're not even close. At 25 yards, they're even further away, and on and on and on. The bottom line is, if we put the FBI's shots taken by their best shooters and lay them down over a test vehicle traveling on the last leg of the Kennedy-Dallas parade route, all the shots are high and to the right of the target. Sadly, even when they attempted to fire shots from a tower, such as the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository, the U.S. Army Ballistics Research Laboratory elected not to have anyone shoot from a height of 60 feet in the air or 6 stories up, which would have been the approximate height of the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository, but rather chose to have them fire from a tower only 30 feet high, half the height, and not shooting at a moving target at all. The only thing that the Warren Commission tests proved using either Exhibit 139, the alleged assassination rifle, or the substitute rifle, is that some people, some groups, some government agencies will cheat to get the correct answer. See you in the next segment.